Hello, friends. All right, I think we're on. Let me just confirm. Sorry, technical difficulties. Sweet. All good. Oh my God. I'm sorry. I'm in my studio in my basement, and so what's up, Tyler? Yeah, that was ridiculous. I apologize for the late start, my friends. So on that note, I'm just gonna go ahead and proceed. That was like one of the most nerve-wracking things I've done yet so far during this pandemic. Cool. All right, so I'm just gonna go ahead and start by giving you guys a tour of my studio, which is gonna be super short because it's just one small square room. All right, let me just get up real quick. Okay, and we'll just give you a spin. So that's one of my work desks, whatever, with some of my work, some of my friends' work. Here's some more work, collaborative piece I did with my wife, which we'll go into more. Painting space, weird photographs and prints, another desk, books and such. Sweet, cool. Welcome to my crib. This is MTV Cribs. Not really, but I don't have any fish tanks, nothing like that. So I guess I'm just gonna start by, what's up, Kimmy? By giving a little intro on myself, just some background where I'm from, how I ended up here, and then just some things that, kind of took place along the way. So, my name's Irineo Medina. I'm originally from Sheboygan, Wisconsin, and I went to college at UWO. And then graduated, moved to Appleton, and eventually settled here in Kaukauna. What I like to do really is anything two-dimensional. Today I found a film camera and some old film in my studio while I was cleaning for you all to be here, and I got super pumped. I was like, yes, another new thing that I could take on, which I'm sure my wife loved. But yeah, so when I was a kid, I was really into comics. My brother had a ton of Marvel comic books, and from there I just started trying to draw superheroes. I watched the X-Men, Spider-Man, like the 90s cartoons, which were super dope. And then I won't forget, I had this How to Draw Aliens book, and I held it down for like 2 years on that thing. And I think that kind of stemmed my interest in like these weird sort of caricatures type. I don't know, my style's real crazy, I think. But from there it kind of just blossomed. I also attribute a lot of my early interest in creativity to Dr. Seuss. We still love Dr. Seuss in my house. Just obviously his writing, but also just his illustrations and how he built these worlds, these like crazy surreal worlds, and as a kid, I just remember I would get lost in them. And even, to this day, I read with my son and my daughter, Dr. Seuss books, and, it's just reminiscent of what drove me to be a creative. And so, as time went on, I began drawing more, and then I actually remember one of my good friends, his name's Joey Rathel, lives in Milwaukee, super dope tattoo artist, and just super dope artist all around. But we were in 7th or 8th grade, and he drew this like spray paint can and some like graffiti, and it was amazing. He was an amazing artist even back then, and from then on, I just kind of got interested in that realm, and just that kind of style, and it kind of blossomed from there. I began to draw more kind of like I would always doodle like little graffiti and characters, and then eventually as I got older, I started to hang out with somebody named Charles O'Connell, probably also another amazing artist I know, one of the best musicians I know. He's still making music and still making some crazy art, and he really inspired me to just be creative, because I feel like he just was always creative all the way from a young age, and still is to this day. And then he actually introduced me to one of my not good friends, Lucas, who also inspired me, and he is just, a master at the spray paint can. And I've had the honor to paint alongside him, which was really cool. But yeah, so I went to UWO, and to be honest, at the time, like going there, I was pumped, but I was also a little nervous because I wasn't like this person. When you think of art, at least to me, I would think about like landscapes and photorealism and pictures of pears, and that wasn't me or like my realm of working. And so I got kind of nervous, and a little discouraged, like maybe I wasn't going to fit. I remember my first semester of college, which was actually at UWO. At UW Sheboygan, I had a professor, and I don't think he really dug my drawings much, and I was like, oh man, maybe this isn't for me. But I stuck to it, and I ended up working with some artists through a program in Sheboygan. They were painting murals, and there's an artist named Gabriel Spector, who does some super dope mural work. And I just remember, painting with him, and he was saying, whatever you do, whether that be cartoons, graffiti, murals, realism, whatever you do, just do a lot of it. Do so much of it that no one can ever doubt your work ethic. And so, that conversation just kind of lived in me for the longest time. And then also at the time, I was working under a sign guy. His name is Josh Marquardt. He still works in Oshkosh, and he's a vehicle wrapper. Amazing dude, but his work ethic is just next level work ethic. And I just feel like that really inspired me to put some drive behind mine. So maybe that way, even if I wasn't the strongest artist or didn't feel that way about my work, I just kind of, had the work ethic and drive to get there. And I feel like my work really developed over time. So while I was in UWO, or at UWO, I had quite a few accomplishments in terms of scholarships and grants and things like that. I got what's called the Student Faculty Collaborative Research Grant, and so that's collaborative with my print and painting professor. And I built this whole body of work, which this piece right there was part of it, and it was the show was based around being a Mexican American and dealing with racism and stereotype, and then kind of taking this game called Loteria, which I guess you compare to like bingo, and taking these cards and then transforming them into like these own spaces of culture that I had built for myself while I was trying to figure out my own identity. And so two other ones that I built, I'll kind of swing it around, or excuse me, not built, but made this flag here and the ladder, and so the show came out pretty strong. I felt, some of my best work I feel like I've ever made, and perhaps that's because I was so passionate about what I was doing at that time. But I won the Outstanding Undergraduate Research Award, and that was a pivotal point in like what I could do and who I could be, against nurses and future business people and marketing people and people with graphs and charts and all that stuff, and no shade to people doing that, but, I was just an art kid, To be honest, I had never really accomplished anything besides graduating high school. And so it really changed what I thought about myself and what art could be for me. And so I really began to chase it, shortly after I graduated. And I had a show. It was pretty cool. I made some massive prints, which I'll talk more about the printmaking stuff I do a little later. But I went on to move up here to Appleton, and to be honest, I struggled quite a bit trying to figure out my way. Like, you graduate with an art degree, and it's just like, okay, now what? And especially since printmaking was my thing, nobody's hiring a printmaker anymore. It's not like, relief printing is an in thing. We're not like way back in the medieval times, right? So, yeah, it was a little confusing, and I worked some odd jobs. I was tearing up carpet. I did some more like signage, vehicle wrap type of stuff. I worked in a factory. I worked at Fox Communities Credit Union for a while. And then eventually, I was like, I gotta do something here for myself. I gotta, it's not gonna be handed to me. That nobody's gonna come down and be like, oh, here you go, sir. I noticed you've been at your desk wishing you were making art. Here's an opportunity, So I went kind of talking to some people. I got connected with an opportunity through some good folks at Fox Communities. Heather, you're on here. And I painted at Bazaar After Dark. If you're familiar with that event, and with the first one over on Wisconsin and Durkee, I painted a mural that says love. And that was the first time that I ever gotten paid to paint a wall, which was amazing. And it was an amazing event. The music, the people, the energy. And from then on, I was like, yeah, I'm going to chase this, because that feeling of giving something back to my community was like next level. And that kind of segued into another area that I'm extremely passionate about, which is reaching back. And so growing up, I feel like I'm very lucky to have made it as far as I have, and to be where I'm at, and to have made it to college. A lot of folks I know didn't make it to college, and there's a lot of times when my life looked like I might not make it through. And so I feel this intrinsic responsibility to reach back, and work with youth, especially at-risk youth, is something that's very near and dear to my heart. And so from there, I went knocking on doors, and I went to, I think it was like the county building downtown Appleton, and they pointed me in the direction of shelter care. Why don't you try shelter care? Because I was looking to do some type of art, maybe specifically paint a mural with at-risk youth. And at shelter care, they said, oh, we're working on some stuff right now. Why don't you try Boys and Girls Club? So I went there, and through some conversations, I met my now boss, Kayla, who's amazing. Shout out Kayla. And she put me on and painting with some students through a program called Summer of Service. And so we've painted 3 murals now. The most recent one we did is on State Street, right across the courtyard from the David Bowie mural. It's on the side of Appleton Bike. And that was, an amazing experience. They've all been amazing experiences. And each year I feel like, the kids come back with an energy to paint, and they get excited about it. And for me, of course, painting a mural is amazing, but for me, a huge part of that is that, no matter where these kids end up in life, good, bad, in between, wherever, there will at least be one lasting mark in our community that they can come back to by themselves, with their friends, with their family, and be like, yo, I did this. Like, I helped paint this, and people love it, and it's beautiful. And that to me is extremely important. And so now I'm continuing to pursue that work. I work for the Boys and Girls Club through a program called STAR, looking to cut the achievement gap in half. I'm also teaching every other Tuesday-ish, I guess now with the shelter in place. It looks a little different because we're doing some virtual stuff, but my wife and I are working at shelter care, doing some art class stuff there. continuing to try to figure out ways to work with youth and also paint murals and do what I love. To connect them with opportunities that they might not have, give them a place to do something beautiful here, but then, also to give our community something beautiful. That is another huge goal of mine. When I was in college and, even when I was painting my first couple murals, I would always hashtag paint the city, and that's kind of my goal. I just want to paint murals, paint walls. And, I read this book in college and it talked a little bit about art on one side and life on the other. And as an artist, trying to find a way so that there's no more line in between them, so that art and life are simultaneous. And, my goal is one day that I'll get there. I think there's a lot of overlap in what I'm doing right now and a lot of overlap in the different paths that I'm on. And I don't know, maybe one day I'll get there, maybe not, but I think where I'm at right now and where it's led me is that I just want to do something good here. And I think the Fox Valley is a beautiful place. To be honest, I'm really glad that I planted my roots here. I wanted to move out of the state for the longest, and I wanted to go back home and just live on Lake Michigan, which I still dearly miss Lake Michigan, but the Fox Valley is amazing, really. And a shout out to all you people who are there, making it happen. I love it here. I think my family loves it here. It's great. All the little communities, all the cool stuff to do. And so I'm always trying to think about how I can use my gift to give something back to the place that I love, and build something good here so that my children can be proud of me, my wife can be proud of me. And so that's kind of my goal. And so that's brings me up to like kind of some current things that I'm working on. So one being a brand new way to connect with people. And again, I apologize for any delays in the technology. To be honest, I suck at technology, and so this coronavirus made us super technology reliant, and I just feel like sometimes I'm floundering and floating, and I just need to get away from it. But here we are. And so as I proceed through this project, right now I'm just kind of talking a little bit about my life and where I'll be going and what I'm doing. But next project I'll be talking a little bit about, the next session I'll be talking a little bit about a project I'm doing, which is a print project. So the printmaking that I like to do is called relief printing. And so it's done with some gouges that, they can range in size, but they look kind of like this. And they start with a wood block, right? And then you draw on it, which I have a drawing that maybe might be a print for this project, but you start with a drawing and then you use those gouges and you kind of, I don't know, it's hard to tell, but you kind of carve out your image. And then you use a brayer and you ink it up, and then you press it to paper through a press, and that's upside down. So it goes from wood to paper. And that was my thing in college, and it's something I still love to do. I have a press here in my basement. Sorry, just to cut off real quick, but at any point, if anybody has any questions, feel free to ask. I'm not used to this whole digital format of talking about my work and myself. Feels kind of crazy, but yeah, so woodcut and relief print, it's like my jam. I like to do that, but I also really enjoy a method of abstract printing. So apart from this project that I'm doing here with the library, I'm also working on another one. So I don't know if y'all can see that. So that is like an abstract kind of print that I made. And excuse me one second. So as I said, I did this collaborative piece right here with my wife. I'll try to move a little closer. So I made one of those abstract prints that I just had shown y'all, and then my wife drew that gun over the print with chalk. pastel. And so now we're building an entire body of work with that kind of style, and I'm super excited about it. I think it's going to be amazing. Yeah, that will be coming. We got pushed back from July now to January, I believe, and so it gives us more time to build work, which I'm really excited about. And then, of course, I'm always working on trying to paint murals, which I'll show you guys another thing. Sorry to be zooming around. So, kind of like another lane mode I work in. Let's see. So I painted this on Wisconsin it's on Blue Mound. Blue Mound, right south of Wisconsin, right by Fleet Farm there. So I love painting murals, and I'm always working on, trying to make more. Like, here's a little something, I don't know, I gotta add color to it, but I'm still continuing to try to paint walls. So if y'all know anybody that wants a wall painted, let me know. But in all seriousness, just trying to give as much back as possible. That's what I care about, making this community an art community. I really do find that eventually here I'll be able to accomplish those things. Like I said, kind of blending and blurring that line between life and art and making it one. But yeah, I don't know. I guess with all that being said, that's kind of my life in a nutshell. Sorry, I just feel super crazy just talking at you guys for almost 20 minutes. But yeah, if anybody has any questions about, where I've been, where I'm from, what I've been doing, anything like that, feel free to ask. Yeah, I don't really know, what comes next with this whole, coronavirus stuff, but hopefully we'll be able to all get together soon. I would really enjoy doing another live painting event. I think that's something that's always been a goal of mine. I was in Madison last summer, and they had a crazy mural get down, blocks long. My buddy Luke painted in it, and that's kind of my ultimate goal, is to make Appleton, the Fox Valley, an environment like that where artists like me can thrive. Artists who are weird and make weird stuff that aren't, super confident like I was. I was super scared, really nervous that I was gonna, just kind of have this creative soul but not be able to do anything with it. And now here I am doing something with it. Yeah, well, I guess with that, I'll thank you guys for joining me in my studio. Next Saturday we'll be talking a little bit about the print project, and just talking about the process of how to go from the blank wood to the wood drawing to here, and then eventually, I think the plan is here to get some prints, and then the library is going to have some prints to be given away, which will be exciting. I'll have work, and I'll keep you guys clued in as well as what other events we have going on. Hopefully, some things pop up. I hope to be painting out in the valley soon, next month after. But I appreciate you all, and I hope you have a great night. Thanks for tuning in. See you later.